Well, hello. This is Margot, and I'm here to present my second video. I hope that you enjoyed my first video and that you learned about coding for office visits. Remember, we learned about 5 CPT codes for a new patient and 5 CPT codes for an established patient. Remember, our CPT codes are current procedural terminology. All of our CPT codes are 5 digits. We have 5 for new patient, 5 for established patient. And as you may remember, the 4th digit in each one of our codes tell us if the patient is new or established. The 4th digit, if it's a 0, means the patient is new. The 4th digit, if it's a 1, it tells us that the patient is established. Today we're going to learn about 2 different subjects. Before we start coding more and more, we need to learn about these 2 different subjects that as we go, they will make sense. Okay? The first one is place of service. Do you remember when we were learning about the CPT codes and we were learning about the office visits? When the patient goes to the doctor's office, we have to tell the insurance company where the services were provided. And always, the place of service for an office is 11. Remember, in the world of coding, everything gets converted into codes. That's why this is called medical billing and coding, because everything gets converted into codes. So there are multiple place of services. There are about 45. Today we are going to learn the 5 most common place of services. Our place of services codes are always 2 digits. So the first one is 11. 11 is office. 12 is home. 21 is inpatient. 22 is outpatient. And 23 is emergency room. So when the patient goes to the doctor's office, the place of service that you're going to indicate so that the insurance company knows where the services was performed, in the office, your place of service is always going to be 11. If the doctor goes to the patient's home, the place of service for home is 12. If the patient is in the hospital, the patient has been admitted in the hospital, the place of service is 21. Inpatient. If the patient goes to the hospital for an outpatient procedure, surgery or any type of exam or diagnostic testing, as long as the patient is not in the hospital for more than 23 hours, your place of service is going to be 22, outpatient. If the patient is being seen in the emergency room, the place of service is 23. Place of service for emergency room is 23 always. As you can see, our place of services are always 2 digits. And POS means place of service. As we go, you're going to start learning about all these abbreviations. For example, DOS means date of service. POS means place of service. There are multiple place of services. In your CPT code book, like in the third page, there is a list of all different place of services where services can be performed. If you don't have the CPT code book, don't worry. You can Google place of service codes and you can find all the place of services. For example, there are place of services pharmacy. Pharmacy place of service is 01. School, 03. The patient gets sick in the school, in any kind of school, a college, university, elementary school, high school, and the doctor goes to see the patient at the school, the place of service is 03. Assisted living facility. The patient is in the assisted living facility. Your place of service is 13. Let's say that the patient gets sick at work and the doctor gets called in. The place of service where the doctor saw the patient was place of employment 18. And again, there is a list, actually 2 pages of different place of services. But today we are going to learn only the 5 most common. Again, our place of services are always 2 digits. The most common are, if the services are performed in the office, you are going to indicate with a code that the office was the place of service and the code is 11. If the services were performed at the patient's home, now there are different types of home. Nursing home, that is a different place of service. Okay? Home is the patient's house. If the doctor goes to the patient's house, the place of service is 12. Inpatient, the patient is admitted in the hospital because the patient is going to have a surgery. The patient is going to be in the hospital for more than 23 hours. Then your place of service is 21. If the patient is going to have an outpatient surgery or procedure, patient goes in and out, patient doesn't get admitted, the place of service is 22. If the patient is being seen in the emergency room, your place of service for the emergency room is 23. Okay? So these are the POS, place of service. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, by the way, this is video number 2. Remember, it's better if you watch these videos in order so that they will make sense. The first video showed you about the CPT codes for an office visit. Now I'm telling you that if the office visit in the patient's office, the place of service that you're going to indicate is 11. Remember, I said at the beginning of this video, we're going to talk about 2 different subjects. They are kind of together. And we need this information, so once we start coding more and more and more, all of this is going to make sense. So the first subject was place of services, okay? Remember, there are many more place of services, but these are the most common. So I'm going to erase these place of services. So if you got a chance to write it down, that's good. If not, just rewind the video, okay? because I need to write something else. However, I'm gonna put them in here smaller because I need to refer to this as I tell you more about our next subject. Office 11, home 12, 21, inpatient, 22, outpatient, 23, emergency room. These are our place of services. Place of services, 2 digits always. That's to indicate where the services were performed. Our second subject for today is going to be patient status. Okay? And it's gonna make sense in a minute. When I say patient status, I'm not talking about the patient. How is the patient doing? Is the patient doing better? Is the patient feeling okay? How is the patient doing? No. I'm not talking about that kind of patient status. I'm talking about 4 patient status that we need to know when we are coding. Our 4 patient status are, our first one is new patient. Our second one is established patient. And I'm going to abbreviate patient with a PT. So patient. Our third patient status is outpatient. And our 4th patient status is inpatient. So when we are coding, as you might remember, for the office visits, we needed to know if the patient was new or established. Why? Because remember, we have 5 CPT codes for a new patient and 5 CPT codes for an established patient. So our first patient status is new patient, and established patient is the second one. These 2 patient status, always their place of service is always 11. Is this a new patient being in the office, in the doctor's office? Place of service is 11. 11, 11. Is our established patient being seen in the doctor's office? New and established patients are always place of service 11. A new patient came to the office for the first time to see the doctor due to a broken arm. When I say a new patient, or when I say for the first time, that tells you that that is a new patient. And you know that for your new patients, you have 5 CPT codes. 99201, 99202, 99203, 99204, 99205. Remember? Place of service for those 2 patient status, new or established, is always 11. Our third patient status is outpatient. Our outpatient patient place of service is always outpatient, 22. A patient was seen in the hospital for an outpatient procedure. The patient status is outpatient. The place of service is outpatient, 22. Our fourth patient status is inpatient. The patient was admitted to the hospital. The patient spends, more than 23 hours in the hospital. That is an inpatient. Place of service 21. And if the patient is being seen in the emergency room, the patient status is outpatient. Because when a patient goes to the emergency room, the patient usually is in the emergency room for less than 23 hours. If the patient is in the emergency room, but the doctor decides that this patient needs to have a surgery and the patient needs to be admitted, then the patient status outpatient changes to inpatient. So your place of service changes from outpatient 22 to inpatient 21. So you cannot send a claim to the insurance company for the emergency room and you indicate that your place of service is 21. Because the insurance company is going to be like, wait a minute, you're telling me that the patient was in the emergency room, but you're telling me that the place of service was 21. 21 is inpatient. 21 is inpatient for a patient that is being admitted in the hospital. Is spending more than 23 hours in the hospital. Okay? So there are 4 patient status. New patient, established patient, outpatient, and inpatient. That means 4 patient status. We need to know that because with that, we need to decide our place of service. But as long as you remember, new and established place of service is always office or home. Outpatient, patient status, outpatient, your place of service is outpatient. Inpatient, patient status, your place of service is always 21. Inpatient. A patient that is being seen in the emergency room is outpatient. Place of service 22. So today we learn about our POS, place of service. Do not complicate your life. Those place of services are in the book or you can Google them. But it's important that you understand. So this has to make sense. The office visit place of service is 11. You have to convert the place of service to a code. Because when you're billing to the insurance company, you have to bill everything in codes. Place of service for the office, if it's a new or established patient, is 11. When the patient goes to the outpatient surgery or if the patient gets admitted inpatient or the patient is in the emergency room, it doesn't matter if the patient is new or established. New and established patients is only important when you are coding for an office visit. For everything else, it doesn't even make sense. An established patient came to the emergency room. Well, yeah, maybe there's somebody that is always going to the emergency room, but there's no new or established. An emergency room is always an outpatient patient. Okay? So we learn about the 5 most common place of services. 11, office. 12, home. Inpatient, 21. 22, outpatient. Emergency room, 23. Those are the most common codes. And as we code more and more, those things, those place of services are going to be making more and more sense to you. We also learned today about 4 patient status: new, established, outpatient, inpatient. New and established place of service is always 11. Outpatient place of service is always 22. Inpatient place of service is always 21. And emergency is always place of service 23. So, I don't want to overwhelm you too much with too much information. Remember, these videos are for beginners. So that's how I'm going to be teaching you little by little. Remember, the first video was for CPT codes for an office visit. This is the second video where you just learn about converting place of services into codes. How many digits are in the place of service codes? 2. The most common, 11 office, 12 home, 21 inpatient, 22 outpatient, 23 emergency room. There are 4 patient status: new, established, inpatient, outpatient. Thank you for all the people that have subscribed. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the people that have liked my videos. I really appreciate. Don't forget, these videos are for beginners. These videos are free. And all I need for you to do is share with your friends, students, co-workers, family, for everybody that needs to know a little bit about this. Even if you're not thinking about becoming a medical billing encoder, these things will help you to understand when you go to the doctor. Okay? So this was my second video. I really appreciate you watching my videos. Have a wonderful day, and I'm gonna see you very soon in my next video. Remember, this is my second video. Thank you, and learn these codes, okay? And I'm gonna see you very soon. Bye-bye for now.